Welcome back to Midrange Disc Golf and to another kind of bag it or bin it, where in this bag it or bin it, we're actually gonna be looking at why I decided to actually bag the Birdie Disc Golf Supply Ultra over the DGA Quake. It is looking like it's about to thunderstorm, so hopefully we can get some of this video in. Big shout out to Another Round Disc Golf here in Denver, the local shop. They ended up hooking me up with this disc because I was looking for an Overstable mid, and I thought this was perfect, but there was one issue that I had with it that really made me lean towards the Ultra to fill out my bag. And I had reached out to Birdie Disc Golf Supply. They've worked with me a decent bit in the past. I really like those guys over there, and they sent me out 4 Ultras, which is obviously one of the main reasons because now I have backups and I really like having backups. But there's one big thing that flight tail, we're not gonna be able to see it on this hole, but we're gonna play 10 or 11 holes or however many the sky lets us, just to show you kind of why. But both of these are such phenomenal discs, and there's some things I love about this, specifically Austin Turner Quake compared to this Ultra, but I think this Ultra might be slightly better in my opinion. And I feel like that's pretty obvious because I'm bagging it. But hole number 1, slight tail left to right, straight down there, 300 feet. So a pretty decent pump for an Overstable mid. I'm probably gonna put them on a slight flex line. Please don't start raining on me. It was supposed to be raining the whole time I was filming that last video, but it didn't. We're gonna start out with the Ultra because it's what's in my bag. And honestly, feel-wise, the Ultra is slightly less comfortable. Oh, it is so raining. Oh God. Because this is a slight blade here and it's a little bit more round. This doesn't quite feel as round, and this is a much thicker kind of outside to the disc compared to the slightly bladed part over here on the Quake. But I kind of love that. It's a little less comfortable, especially on forehands, but it's a very important feature of the disc for me. Look at that. I honestly burned that over a little bit, especially into the wind that's gonna cross it over, but so stable, it's gonna fight out of it. I think it might be slightly more stable than this Quake. Threw that one in a little less juice, a little more nose up. Both are gonna be inside the circle. Quake might be parked though, and honestly, it was thin margins to make me choose the Quake or the Ultra over the Quake, and it's gonna be thin margins for my sanity based on how much this looks like it's about to downpour on me. Couple Overstable beauties here. Both super solid. I think that the Ultra does have that touch more of overstability, which is one of the reasons that I like it, because from everything I've heard, this is basically the most stable Quake that you can get. And I'm wanting to eventually have one of these that's relatively beat in and then get another one that is like super beef. And for me, that's what this Ultra is going to turn into, because I have the backups already that are equally as stable as this. And this color gold plastic from Birdie, I really love. I have some strikes in it as well. It's pretty stiff, honestly, but does have that little bit of gumminess. This Ice Quake, also pretty stiff, but it feels a little more gummy. I think it's just because it's round. It just feels a little bit rounder. This does feel very small diameter, as does the Ultra, but this feels slightly smaller diameter. Honestly, kind of like a slightly more stable Pathfinder or Mustang is how I feel about it. It feels very good in my hands. There's just one throw, which I think we might be able to see here, because I'm gonna try to take this left gap through these trees, going back to the basket on a forehand. And the Ultra just handles the forehand, especially into a headwind, significantly better. There was one time when I threw this in a battle video, this Quake, because this is what I was thinking I was gonna bag for this slot, and I threw it on just a hyzer forehand that I thought would flip up and ride and come back to the right. It just flipped up, turned over, and never came back. Oh, and that's why you gotta learn the discs. So the first thing that I did was go to a field with these Ultras and rip them as hard as I could into a headwind on some hyzer on a forehand, and they never really burned over in the same way, which ultimately is what made this decision for me. And I think it's a lot of the bluntness of the edge. So honestly, just throw them flat through that gap. It's like 250 feet. See, my forehand's been trash, but that just rode flat as you saw. And that one, it just, even in that, I started it flat, was a lower, better line, but it just has more play in the wind, just more play when you throw it on a forehand. And that's not something that I'm really looking for from that Overstable mid-range slot. Apparently somewhere around me in Colorado, there's gonna be like a tornado warning and hail warning, so that's not ideal. But yeah, I feel like I can trust the integrity, especially like if I burn over that Ultra, it's coming back 100% of the time. And they do have the same numbers, they're both 5303. But with the Quake, I feel like it gets to a point where it doesn't come back, and that's when it's new, which I don't mind that if I like beat it in a little bit and want a nice little flip up guy, but for a new one, not the biggest fan. And that especially surprised me because I am up here in Denver right now, and I will be taking whichever discs are in my bag to tournaments that are at sea level. And I have my zones, but they're slower than these and definitely act like it. And so they can definitely just get burned over a lot easier than something like an Ultra or a Quake would. Here's the Ultra for a nice easy 3. I also really like these for upshots, don't really mind them at all. Where the heck did it go? I think too, I was also toying with the Ursus, the glass Ursus. I know you guys have seen that on my channel before. Oh, it's way deep over here. Got it. No! There we go. But I wanted something that was beadless, which is why I like the Quake and the Ultra. They're both kind of beadless, shallow feeling, nice feeling, overstable mid-ranges. One of the things that I was honestly a bit nervous about with the Ultra is that since it seemed to be so much more stable, and it definitely I think it's slightly more stable, but significantly more reliable, if you understand what I mean. I think if you've thrown enough overstable discs, you might understand that, but it's kind of a weird thing to think about, especially if you're just getting into disc golf. But the stability on this ice one is awesome. It might just be that my forehand isn't touchy enough and maybe I don't generate enough spin, but this compensates for it a little bit better. And if I do have more spin, this will just go a little bit further. And I was thinking that this wouldn't quite go as far as the Quake does, but I was throwing them side by side in the field and they were going just about equally as far. Maybe this one's slightly less, but I was throwing them both in the 300 to 330 feet distance, which is where I'm typically wanting to push my mid-ranges. So pretty confident with that type of shot. This one's 225 straight there. We're just gonna go pretty big Heisa. And just show that stability. Great shot, quick. Oh, let go of that one early. But as you can see, I mean, it's still super stable. It is definitely a great overstable mid. Hello, dude, come on. Don't be a baby. Okay, be a baby. Ultra again. Double park jobs with the ultras. Quick. I think this next hole we should be able to show kind of the forehand differences again, or I try to give them a little bit of flex. I want not to throw them too hard, so we might not see it too much, but it should help us. All right, this one is 280 feet down there, and it is into a headwind, so this should show you the difference. That was the main reason why I wanted the Ultra over the Quake. This is one I'm probably just gonna leave it slight hyzer to flat, which my flat has been slight hyzer recently, kind of unfortunately. This side, it should flip up slightly, if there is enough headwind. Might go too far, actually. Yeah, wow, deep. Wow, okay. Maybe it's only 230. Throw the Quake on the same line, though. Okay. Not quite hard enough to see the difference. Oh, yeah, there's not quite enough headwind. It's been like the 10 to 20 mile an hour headwinds that have really shown the differences. And when I get into those scenarios, you need something that's reliable. And that one just like, I couldn't trust it as much once I had a couple of bad misreleases with it. It is interesting though, because I don't really notice it as much on the backhand. It's there, but I feel like my backhand's a little spinnier. Get it up, dude. Like that 27 footish mark. Gross. Gross. No. All right, they like matching each other's scores, I guess, even when I give the Quake a better look. All right, this is gonna be a pretty good test here because I haven't really thrown these guys on max rips next to each other without a lot of wind. So we can see if there are a little bit of differences because this one's 340, straight ahead of us, way down there. Gonna have to give it a little flex and basically beat a tree. So I'm gonna try to flex it from the left side of this gap through the gap and have it finish relatively straight instead of finish back left. This is where I think they'll probably show more similarity than you think. All right, hit my line. Just a little short. I didn't quite get it down low enough, but I definitely hit my line. So do the same thing, just get a little further down. Yeah, that's so good. Yeah, it just seems to be slightly less stable, which is not a bad thing. I mean, it's parked. Like that's such a good shot with like an overstable mid to get that through there, but it's definitely slightly less stable. And I really like that flight. I just think that's what my Ultra is gonna be in like a couple months. Throwing that Quake though, I really love that disc too. It is such a nice disc. Yeah, that Quake is underneath the basket. Slow. I hate stepping with the left, but I'm trying to work on it. Not bad. This is so good, dude. So good. Rain is starting to come down. We got 355 feet straight ahead of us there. It's the basket. It's a little bit of a pump with these. I don't think I'm gonna get there with either of them. Quake has the box now. I do feel like the Quake would be the one that I could. I feel like it just goes slightly further right now, but I think that's just the slight lack of stability right to left. So I'm gonna turn it into it, should keep it flat, and then once it gets to edge, it should help to push it towards the basket. Uh-oh. Stayed too straight. Ah, it's gonna be a long look. Keep this one a little bit straighter. I think that same shot with this will push it back a little bit more left, but we're gonna go a little more inside. Nope, same shot. But yeah, it's significantly more stable. I can't wait for it to be that Quake stability, but I need it to start out the stability where it is right now, which is the hard part. Okay, both of these kind of got the distance. I mean, the Quake, or the Ultra is closer. The Quake's also super solid. I think the bladedness of the Quake means that if you're looking for a very overstable mid, and you're not quite as confident in your nose angle, the Quake is probably gonna be better for you than the Ultra, because the Ultra is pretty blunt, meaning you really have to get that nose angle right, otherwise it's gonna like get pretty nose up on you and squirrely. Oh God, that's ugly. Let's go. We got like 4 more holes. I think we're gonna skip 18, even though it's a good hole for these, just because 17 brings us to the top of the hill, and if this rain keeps up, I don't want to have to walk back down it. Okay, I'm super stoked to have birdied that with the Ultra and like a basically 360-foot hole. That's pretty sick. This one should also be a birdie, basically because it's a par 4. It's 550 feet straight down through that last gap. Trying to keep it straight down the middle. Do have a slight left to right and a lot of freaking rain. Don't hurt myself in this tee pad. Oh, it's getting slick. I'm teeing off from the side. That's pretty clean. It's not great, but it's not bad. It should be a nice, easy hyzer in. Yeah, that's where you can see the Quake wants to pan more. The Ultra, it's gonna hold it, but fight against it a lot more. All right, you guys got a towel on, you know, hopefully it doesn't blow away, but we got straight through this gap, probably really only bit off about 270 feet-ish. The forehand is the most enticing play, but this is exactly the wind that I don't like throwing it into forehand-wise. That's why not. Pretty poor, but it also, once it got turned over, it kind of like flopped its way to being turned over, where I don't think the Ultra can do that. So we'll just blame that on me. Partially, I wanted to do that to show you guys why I didn't like that disc as much on the forehand, but I also thought it could have been a good shot. It just didn't quite work out. We got the backhand hyzer line. It's gonna throw a slight flex out of my hand to get it through that gap. Should be really happy. Okay, definitely juiced the gap and got ourselves a circle 1 look. Circle 2, maybe circle 3. It's a par. Not worth getting the other one wet. I felt like I juiced it so far, but because of how stable it is, like I know I can throw it hard, but I feel like it's one of those where I can trust the reliability of it to be where I can throw it pretty hard and it's not really gonna juice it too far. Like I didn't throw it 100%, but I threw it committed enough to get through that gap and it just finished, left me with this 15, 20 footer. 3 more holes. Oh God. That's a great sound. All right, we're gonna throw a shot that I have no business throwing because this hole is dumb. It's like 175 feet straight through there. We're gonna throw some grenades with these guys. I'm not a grenade guy at all, but we're gonna try. From what I understand, you just throw low to high with your thumb underneath it. I think I'm gonna probably, that's a tornado warning, we gotta go. All right, I'm not too crazy scared because they just said take shelter immediately in the nearest building or rubber tired vehicle, so it's probably just thunderstorms, but God, that freaked me out. Hopefully we got enough footage for you guys. I have no stake in either of those discs, but I just want to share my findings with why I'm building the bag the way that I am. I'm gonna have a similar video come out soon about control drivers and why I chose the one I did after testing tons of them. I'm gonna drive home. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you wanna check out my full in the bag, link right down there. My last disc review right down there. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I don't wanna die. Okay, love you, bye.